Today is Good Shepherd Sunday. It's the fourth Sunday of Eastertide, and it's always Good Shepherd Sunday. Sheep and shepherds are used a lot to describe our relationship with Jesus and Jesus's desire for us. As comforting as that sounds and is, this passage with the gate brings up a familiar question. It makes me wonder if I would be allowed in through the gate or not. Jesus tells us that it is the thieves and bandits who try to enter by another way, to climb over the fence, dig under it, maybe break it down altogether. What would have happened, I wonder, if the thief and the bandit came to the gate? I can imagine not wanting to go in by the gate, this gate where Jesus is the doorman. I can imagine wanting to be in with the sheep, but not being sure I was worthy, being afraid of being turned away, being afraid that Jesus would somehow ferret out the thief that is lurking somewhere inside me, find me unworthy. This scenario popped into my head a few years ago, and it returns every now and again. I am at the pearly gates, a huge group of people waiting to get in through the gates. The line is moving slowly, but everyone gets in. And after a conversation with St. Peter's. But there is quite a bottleneck. I linger at the back of the crowd, letting people in front of me as they come. I am so reluctant to push myself forward that I never make it there. I am destined to remain forever outside. This scenario came to me not when I was thinking about humility, but as a tableau of how shame and fear operate inside me and what the consequences of giving them free rein are, keeping me out of heaven, away from God and Jesus. The shame of wanting in, the shame of wanting something you don't have, the shame of needing something you don't have. Shame. And along with shame comes fear of exposure. Everyone will see that I am in need, and the fear that they will all slightly nod their heads in recognition, having seen the truth of who I am more clearly than I can see myself. Shame and exposure are inextricably linked. Studies of children as young as 2 who were left with caregivers while their mothers went off to work in war plants showed that when their mothers returned, they would refuse to look her in the face. They often turned their back on her. This separation had been misinterpreted as abandonment. Adults, too, do the same. It's just that we misinterpret other things. We attach meaning where there is none, and we miss meaning where it is offered. Criticism sticks like Velcro, and compliments or success just slide right off. Having another see us being criticized is excruciating, so much so that we pull in. We look down, wanting to disappear. Like those children, we want to turn away. We want to put our faces in the shadow. Wanting, needing, asking are very vulnerable states. The notion of voicing them in public, of asking to be let in at the gate, can be terrifying. The fear that we might be turned away looms large. Just allowing that need or desire to be conscious in our own minds is enough to send us scurrying to the back of the pen, wire clippers in hand. Jesus says that it is thieves and bandits who are back there trying to get in surreptitiously. You know you are not a thief, a bandit, but then you wonder, am I? We don't know our worth when we are in need. We might be as bad as a thief. We might be a loser. We might deserve this misfortune that we are currently going through. Being in the position of giving, of helping, of welcoming others in, we know what that says about us. The person in that role is a good person, a worthy person, someone who belongs. But what about when we are the one who needs help, who needs the door opened, who must have help finding a seat? What about the person who thinks they have nothing to offer, who came hungry, hoping to be fed? What does that say about us then? We belong in the back with the thieves. When we are feeling ashamed, we cannot see ourselves clearly. We do not know if we belong with the bandits or not. We might be turned away if we went to the gate. Maybe everyone can see how unworthy we are. Maybe everyone is wondering how you had the nerve to get in that line to begin with. And it's not only concrete needs or wants that we want to hide from the world. Ask anyone who's ever been clinically depressed. The need of healing is so palpable, but the possibility of it seems so faint that the only thing we can feel is shame, and the only thing we do is keep quiet. Shame blinds us to ourselves and to the compassion of others. But there is someone who does see us better than we can see ourselves. Someone who is telling us that the door, the gate you've thought was supposed to keep you out, is actually there to let you in. Jesus isn't saying, bandits and thieves, please enter towards the back. He is saying that coming to him with whatever you need, with whoever you are, coming to him at the gate, you will be let in. When you take the risk of asking to be let in, when you let Jesus and yourself know that you need him, Jesus responds. And it is in that moment of connection, it is then that we hear Jesus's voice and know that we belong, that we are one of his sheep. Jesus tells us what awaits us through the gate. I came that they may have life and have it abundantly. Here is what abundance includes. There are green pastures, cool waters, banquets, soothing oils, and there is the valley of the shadow of death. Abundance includes valleys. Abundance assumes valleys, and it assumes the company and steady hand, the guiding staff of a shepherd through the valley with us. It is in our society that we have come to think we need to kick those valleys under the bed so no one sees them, even though we are all experiencing them. A full life contains both valleys and mountains. Read a few of the Psalms, and you'll see that complaint and sorrow are one of the backbones of our communication with God. During one of the hardest times in my life, my partner had dumped me. Imagine that. And I was devastated. I felt wronged. I felt deserted. I read from the book of Lamentations every night. I must have read it through 10 or 12 times. The emotions expressed in it so matched my own that it lifted me up. Others have been through rejection. What I'm feeling is in the Bible. I was not alone. It allowed me to wail and shake my fist, and it allowed me to ask for help, that help that I needed. My best friend dragged me around with her everywhere she went for about a month, like I was her puppy. But I felt much better. There is no doubt that everyone in this congregation is generous, compassionate, and helpful. There is no doubt that our creative energy goes into high gear when we hear of a problem, a need. I know that firsthand. And there is no doubt that there are valleys ahead. Perhaps a few we won't even acknowledge until we are very deep in them. And there is no doubt that some, maybe many of us, will find ourselves in need of one kind or another. Here's where the doubt comes in. When we are in need, in trouble, will we have the courage to ask for help? It takes courage to lay yourself bare, to open yourself to another person. Can we then accept help that is offered? Or can we ask for help before it is offered? Can we remember the desire Jesus has for us? I came so that you may have life and have it abundantly. Can we remember Jesus' promise for us? He calls his own sheep by name, and they follow him. Can we remember the love that Jesus brought to us, the love that we mimic in this congregation, and that we share from our hearts with one another?